Blazing Colors, watching one of your videos from 4 years ago. It was on canine herpes virus. You mentioned giving plasma to them at 3 cc's per pound of body weight for the first couple of days by mouth. Is this still current? Yes, it is. And so you can go get frozen plasma. I haven't bought it in a long time. I've got some in the fridge. I haven't had to use it, but you can go buy this. There's lots of different outfits out there that sell this. What other things, issues, virus, can you use plasma for with puppies to help them? People use plasma on fading puppies. I haven't used it for that either, but people say that it helps. Is it given IV or only by mouth? The answer to that one is given by mouth for, I think, the first 36 hours. You can give it orally. After that, you can give it as a sub-Q injection under the skin or as an IV. So then you go on to say, so with horses for you and foals, it's always an IV. Seems like maybe a great to include in a newborn puppy kit. Well, I mean, so the thing about plasma is if you need it, you need to order it. If you're not sure if you need it, go order some frozen, stick it in your freezer. It'll stay in there for probably a year or more. So it's one of those things that, when you get in trouble, you're trying everything you can, and plasma is one of the things to try. So there you go on that. Dubstep Dolly, what makes Merle a harlequin and a tweed? Okay, good question. So a tweed, so let's talk about Merles first. So we're talking about Merle. So a Merle is different than a brindle in that it is a kind of similar in concept, but you've got a dog that well, looks like a sheepdog. You've got these two different patterns together. Typically it's one color on a, how do I describe this? I mean, if you see a Merle, you know what it is. It's not a pied. A pied is definite chunks of color on a white background. That's a pied. A Merle is on a different color background, typically a muted background, where you've got, depends on what, if it's a blue dog, it tends to be more black in color. But basically with a Merle, a basic Merle, it is two colors, a background with another color in blotches. A tweed is two colors on a background. So if it was a blue dog, you'd have a darker color and a gray color on a lighter background. And then if that background color is white, that becomes a harlequin. So you could have, I guess, you could have, a tweed harlequin, which is in fact by the picture of the dog that in that comment there, one of our puppies that you're looking at, I would call that a tweed harlequin because it's got two colors of basically gray, a darker and a lighter on a white background. So that would be a harlequin. So there you go. Ariel Corpus, what's your opinion on breeding your female when she comes back in heat after she had a litter? I keep answering this one, so we're going to do it again. The answer is you need to look at the last litter and see whether or not mum bounces back quickly to her normal health and she's a happy dog. The litter was successful, there weren't any big issues. You had fun with it. And the next round, you've got time to do it again. If all those things are pluses, if you get 4 pluses, go ahead and do it. If you get any of those things that are not, it may be time to not breed that dog, stop breeding that dog, give yourself a break, give her a break. Caroline B, you have a question on breeding fluffy carriers. I bred my female fluffy carrier to another fluffy carrier stud. Pups are 2 weeks today. She had 5. 2 look visual fluffy. Is that possible? The answer is yes. So the answer is you'd expect to have 1/4 of the litter. I think I may have already answered this one. You expect to have 1/4 of the litter be full fluffies. So 25% full fluffies, 50% fluffy carriers, 25% no fluffy at all. So look, if you're not sure about this, and the right answer is to go do a DNA test, and you say you are waiting on DNA. So, but the chances are you do have to full fluffies there. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to look back through here and see if there's any other questions. Well, I'm going to carry on with a question that I was asked by somebody yesterday that I thought was a good one. It was on the phone. So he's got a stud dog, and the stud dog is about a year old, and he's wanting to use the stud dog, and he did, but he only got 1 cc of material from this, and he was worried whether or not that's enough to get a dog pregnant. So then the conversation is what is enough, and how can you tell you got enough to know that you could get a dog pregnant? So the general opinion is is that you'd like to see 200 million motile sperm. When we say motile, that they're not dead, they're all swimming and their morphology looks sensible. They're good looking sperm. 200 million, that is a good number to get a dog pregnant. So what is 200 million? Well, the only way that you can definitely know you've got 200 million is you do a physical count. And you can either use the machine. Some vets, especially the repo vets, have got a machine where they put a drop of sperm on it and it calculates the total number in that drop, and then they do a bit of math to work out what it would be in the whole sample. So that's one way. And that, by the way, is a great way because it does also look at how well they're progressing. Are they all swimming in one direction? Or are they not going around in circles? Do they have bent tails? Do they have split heads or split tails? So what you want is a sperm that looks correct, that is making forward motion, and you want 200 million of those. All right, so that's the number. Now, when would you not get 200 million? So smaller dogs with smaller testes that are younger, all of those would have lower amounts of semen versus bigger, older dogs with large testes would have considerably more semen than that. Now, you go get a Newfoundland that's 2.5 years old, is in its prime, it might be producing, 5 times that. It might produce, a billion sperm rather than 200 million. So how do you know? Well, the first thing is I can look at it under a microscope, and I've done it enough that I can tell you what the count is because I've done it enough. But what you will see is this. Just looking at the sample, you're going to see that it's nice and cloudy, pearlescent looking. And if it's very clear, almost completely you can see through it, you can bet your bottom dollar that the count's going to be very low and it's probably not going to be any good. So if you're in a situation, this person was in a situation they had a single CC, and but they didn't know whether or not that's enough. So the answer is, without a microscope, without knowing what you're doing, breed again, because it's all about the number of good quality sperm, getting it in the dog at the right time in the right manner. And if you bred her today, you could breed her again tomorrow morning, you'd get 2 shots of this and you get twice as much semen, and you double your potentially, getting to that 200 million mark. It doesn't have to be 200 million in one go. It can be 200 million spread out over a 36-hour period. You could pull from that dog maybe 3 times in that period. At the end of this, he's going to be getting diluted and he may not be any good on the 3rd pull, but you've got nothing to lose. So that's what I said to this guy is, hey, go ahead, and if you can't get a semen count done, then go ahead and just breed, basically every day until he stops producing anything that's worthwhile, and keep your fingers crossed. So what's some other things that you could do? You could breed to another stud. You could breed to 2 studs at the same time. You've got to do a parentage. The AKC has no problem with this, but you're going to have to do a parentage. It's going to cost you $40 per puppy to do a AKC parentage, and you have to do 2 paperworks. So it's going to cost you another $30, $40, $50 to get the paperwork on these dogs. But you could certainly do that too. If you're going to do that, I highly recommend that you let the stud owner know what you're doing. I've had somebody do this a couple of times to me without letting me know beforehand, and I thought that was really not very good practice. I would have approved it, but I think that it's not good practice to use multiple studs. You better set up with the stud owner what the agreement is in terms of what you're paying that person too, because you could get into a mess on this. So full transparency would be the right way to behave, right? That's the right way to behave on this. And I was going to say something else about this now that we're talking about this, and good Lord, I've forgotten what it is. Well, let's just talk a little bit, just to fill out your 10 minutes here. Let's just talk a little bit about collecting from dogs. So now you can have problems with young dogs being shy. The best way that you can get a collection from a dog is to, number one, have practiced with that dog beforehand. So the first time you want to use him is not the first time you've pulled from him. You should have been pulling from him, every week for the last month or so to kind of get him online and have a semen analysis done. But the best way of getting a decent collection from a dog is to keep that dog away from any females for at least 48 hours. And then put it in front of preferably a female that's in heat and collect from that dog right there and then. That's your best shot at probably getting a decent collection. You will get an improved collection if you put a dog in front of a dog that's in heat, or at least a female. If you don't have any teaser bitch at all, then that will affect or can affect the amount of semen that you produce. But what you're looking for is something that looks, you know, pretty milky, opalescent, and keep collecting from that dog until it goes clear. And there's people who say don't collect the first part of the pre-ejaculate. I don't know how they're doing that, because you don't know when it's going to go from being clear to going having a sperm in the collection. So for me, almost all of my dogs, they might spit a little bit of clear to start with, but almost immediately it's going to the sperm-rich fraction. So I collect right from the very beginning. I'm collecting a cup, and then I stop collecting when it goes clear. And that has worked very well for me in the last 20 years of doing this. So that's my advice to you, but that's not the way I see everybody advising to do it. So why they're doing it a different way, I don't know, but that's my technique, and it seems to work very well. There we go. 11 minutes of time wasted. Thanks for watching. Bye, buddy.
Thanks for watching the video. I hope you got some good information out of it. I hope you subscribe to our channel. Brought to you by mybreedersupply.com. We've been in business for over 8 years. We manufacture products to help you have successful breedings, successful whelps, and successful puppies. We've introduced a new subscription service, canineconnect.com. It's a 1-year subscription for $129, and for that you get 2-day free shipping on all of your orders. You get 5% off every order that you place, and you get direct access to our support line to help you with products that you buy from us and general questions about breeding your dogs. It's really a great deal. I hope you subscribe to that. Now the disclaimer. I'm not a licensed veterinarian. I'm not a professional health giver, but I am a guy that's been breeding dogs successfully for over 20 years. Any information you get from my videos is purely at your own risk. If you have any doubts about any of this stuff, you should definitely seek the help of a licensed professional. Again, thanks for watching. Have fun with your doggies. Bye, buddy.